What's up, Panda dudes? Peter from Panda here. Hey, I don't normally show you a lot of my guns, but just bought this one. This is the Ruger LCP II. It's the most recent generation of it, and I wanted to get this and show it to you versus my Smith & Wesson Bodyguard here. And the reason I picked it up, you know, and maybe something you're thinking about too, is the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard is a nice pistol, but the trigger, in my opinion, sucks. And so, you know, if I show you here that we're clear, I don't know that I owe it to you because we're on the interweb, so you can't hurt yourself. But this one I just literally came home with. And so not only wanted to show you this, but then compare it to the Bodyguard, the gun that it's replacing for me. Have some snap caps here because, you know, the big reason is the trigger, and I kind of wanted to demo that. So let me just show you what you get. You get this little cardboard box. Comes with all the paperwork, you know, pamphlets, manuals, that's the whole nine there. Comes with the pistol itself right here, wrapped in plastic. Looks like we've got a flag and a tag and the rubber band. You've probably seen these in other reviews. New and redesigned. Comes with a little pocket, like a velour pocket holster. You know, I kind of prefer these to be like Kydex or leather, a little more, and obviously, since it's brand new, totally clear. So clear, no magazine. And so you can certainly use this pocket holster. I think that's the point, you know, of a pocket gun. It seems to fit in there really nicely. There's a stitching right here to block it. So the end of the muzzle is right there, and then you can feel the trigger guard right up here, and so that should hide in a pocket pretty well. Again, despite the fact that, you know, you probably won't be able to actuate the trigger there, I'm always a little leery of fabric. So if you're going to really pocket carry this, I mean, it does cover up the trigger pretty nicely, and it says Ruger there, but leather or something a little stiffer might be a little nicer, especially when you're going in the draw. But obviously you can see here, pretty nice open cut area here so that you can get your hands on it and draw it out. Let's see, you've got your standard cable lock. Looks like you've got another base plate here, and then your second magazine. Now, so gun will fire with the magazine out, which I do like. And the cool thing about it, looks like it's 6-round, 380 ACP, and in my case, it only comes with one magazine. So I guess that's just how it rolls. And magazine's empty, but does have a little finger extension right there, kind of like the Smith & Wesson one. And what I've noticed right off the bat here is that when you load them, and some people also complain about this, the magazine kind of hangs up on the button release. You can kind of force it in, but just by kind of giving a little press on it, taking the pressure off it, it slides in nicely. Now, I know some people complain that, you know, let's say you're going for a fast reload and that got in the way, that'd be a pain in the butt, okay? Definitely possible. I totally get that. Same on this one. I've just noticed it, though, is that as you push this in, you know, man, that one really hangs up there. You can kind of jiggle it in, but I think if you just put a little pressure on it, there we go. You don't even have to fully depress it, but what I do like is that's pretty authoritative on the eject, not so much on the Bodyguard. I really do like the look of this. Actually, I got the Bodyguard with the laser, the Crimson Trace laser, because it's actually better looking with the laser. It just fills out this end more and doesn't look like quite like a mouse gun. But I like the straight lines as opposed to that curve that they had before on the original LCP. So this one looks a lot better. The grip feels a lot better than the original. It's kind of raised here in the back. You can kind of see how, you know, there's a little bit of a hump, which is going to add to width on the back, but I think that feels pretty nice. And your thumb kind of rides down towards the trigger there, and the finger kind of has a little bit of a glide path in there too. I mean, it feels good, and the stippling, it feels really nice. It's kind of a little like just like a sandpaper texture, you know, as opposed to the HK, which has those little crescent shapes. This feels great. Not totally unlike the stippling on the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. They do feel kind of similar in hand, although you can tell that the grain is a little tighter on this. I like these kind of little pyramidal shapes right there. They actually feel pretty good too. So no points awarded to either for being better, but certainly better than the old one here. Disassembly on this is a little odd. You kind of want to use like a pen cap or something to pry this up when you do take it apart. But I will say, even though this has like a flip down lever that comes out, this thing is kind of a pain in the ass to get out and put back in. So I award no points to either there, since I haven't even taken this down. Now, the big thing that I wanted to experience is the trigger, all right? And you also notice that this is safety and this one does not. I don't think any of the LCP2s comes with safety. Personally, I would have preferred to have a little quick thumb safety there. I get the point of not having it, but I kind of wish that they had that option. You know, and if you don't like it, you can always just keep it off. I'll ride with it off, but I certainly like that. And then integrated little trigger bar there. It's very straight, kind of funny looking trigger safety. So it does work. If I press like that, it won't go back. All right. So the thing about it is double action only versus single action. And I wanted to quick kind of measure those because I will be honest, what I hated about this gun is taking it to the range and even targets 10 feet in front of me. What the problem is here, I'm just going to throw in one of my snap caps. 380 snap caps, is that it's a long pull, and because it's a double action with the hammer here, you basically, I mean, you're kind of pulling. I don't mind that it's a super heavy pull. I'll give you that number. Actually, it'll be off the scale on my Wheeler trigger pull scale here. I don't mind that it's heavy. What I mind is that there's no real obvious break, and so you're pulling without really knowing when it's going to fire. And you're not going to be focusing on the hammer, you're going to be focusing on the sights. See, and I get that it's really long. I like the idea that it's a double strike capable, but man, I feel like right about there it should have fired, and then you keep pulling, and you basically have to kind of pull it all the way against the back to get it to fire, right? And so you can definitely train with it, but like I said, I mean, even though there's nothing really suggesting in the pull like you're there. You know, usually there's a little bit of a like extra, pressure on the wall, but it's just kind of this consistent weighty pull all the way back. And basically, if you're me at the range like this, I'm going to pull now. It's going to be maybe a little hard to see, but it's really hard to stay on target because you just don't know when that hammer is going to drop. So you're pulling, just trying to keep your sight on target the whole time. So you can get accurate with it, after a lot of shooting, because you're just kind of holding on the target, throughout this really long pull. Do a gangster style so you can kind of see. So what I've heard is that this trigger is much better. Now I haven't fired one, before purchasing it. I just thought I hate the Smith & Wesson one so much I'd take a shot on it. So we'll go ahead and put the snap cap in here, and snap cap in there. You can see the brass with a little peekaboo window right there. It's obviously oiled up from the factory. Sights are pretty similar, just black sights. No real big difference there. No advantage on either, in my opinion. Slightly different, but I will say that the sights are bigger physically, like wider, on the LCP II. And maybe, I don't know, I was going to say maybe a smidge further back, because the LCP II, the total slide, let me line up the fronts here for you. Looks like it might be just a smidge longer, so there's a lined up there. And so, I mean, I don't think it's going to make any difference, but you might get a little bit a longer sight radius, and you've got your little brass check window on the top of the Smith & Wesson, which I might like a little bit better, but you can just kind of quick rotate over and see there. But it's a single action pull, right? So I don't even know if you can see the hammer in there. I suppose it looks like you kind of can. All right. So now what I can't do is I don't have that double strike, okay? So I would have to throw in a couple of More snap caps here. So I would have to cycle it. New round. And what I can tell you is that, man, right off the bat, the trigger is way lighter. Kind of takes up almost nothing for the portion of where the trigger guard is, or the trigger safety is in place. There's almost no resistance, but right there, no resistance right there. You can kind of feel the resistance also right there. And then if I just pull, I like that. I mean, even though you do have to pull a little further to fire it, you basically know, once I've taken up this, that your mind and your finger says you're right at shooting the shooting threshold. Where on this gun, you just pull, and it's the same weight the whole way without any kind of indication that it's about to go off, right? So here, got trigger up to the wall here, and then pull, and it's just significantly lighter, but more than anything, I like the idea that you know when it's going to shoot. So as you can see there, empty magazine, you have the slide locking back, which is pretty awesome too. You know, especially in a gun with limited capacity, if you needed to reload quickly, what you'd want to be able to do is kind of put that, put your next mag in as quickly as possible, not necessarily have to cycle it again manually. So let me put these 3 extra snap caps back in here. Got the magazine in here. Let's load that sucker in there, and now fires, cycles, and then the reset. It's relatively long, but as soon as you reset, you're basically back on pressure again, and boom. Man, I can tell you that right off the bat, this will be a better shooting gun for me. I will definitely have better groups with this gun than I will with the Smith & Wesson. All right. Now the question is, how heavy is the trigger pull? Let's go ahead and start with the Bodyguard. Got it loaded here. The wheel trigger scale only goes up to 8 pounds. I don't know if this extra space can be interpreted as more than that, but let me just lined up there and pull it. And we're way off the scale. In fact, it's pegged at the end here, and I've heard it's like 12 pounds, and I totally believe that. And so, again, just a spring scale, not the most accurate scale in the world, but we have this, the Ruger now. Go ahead and reset this, and trigger safety down, and so we'll pull. So looks like 7-ish pounds, right? And let's do it one more time. Looks like it was almost 9 pounds that time. Now, I don't know that I had it in exactly the same spot, but you can see, I mean, I can feel it being a lot lighter. And, more than anything, like I said, the weight was less of an issue, although I do like the lighter trigger pull. But as you can see, it's not a super light. It's not like a VP9 or something like that. But what I like is just the fact that you have kind of 2 stages to the take up as opposed to just one long stage. So that being said, I think, I'm going to be really happy with it. You can see here that they're effectively, with the extensions are effectively the same height. The Ruger is like just a smidge lower or smaller. I already showed you that I think the Ruger is slightly longer. If I line them up here, nose to nose. Well, Smith & Wesson's beaver tail is just a little longer, sticks out just a little further, but the slide is a little longer. So what's interesting here is that I've got them lined up. You can see that, the back ends are a little different, but this is where you will see the hammer actually start to protrude from the gun, and then you can see where the grips are in relation. The fronts are pretty similar, but the Smith & Wesson does bulge out quite a bit more. I don't think they're really that much longer. I think just the angle on it's a little bit different. So anyway, two of the top 380 ACP pistols, and just wanted to show you that how much better the trigger I think is. You know, until I get it to the range though, it's all just conjecture. With my Ruger LCP II, Peter von Panda, out!